air and water the nation very well, please.
We'll do that.
Thank you very much, Professor Abba Gambo, for coming and giving us your wealth of experience.
Thank
we
you
hope
very
it will
much.
continue.
My pleasure.
You will oblige us when we invite you for the continuation of this discussion.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts the activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Cleanliness is next to godliness. That's a quote we are all familiar with. But how much of it do we actually practice? Often, our dirty environments are seen as responsibilities of the government. But who is the government? What
World Bank explains special intervention to states.
To have a very good institutional arrangement in place and best practices in terms of public debt management so that public borrowing and public debt management at the subnational level will be sustainable.
National Tourism and Transportation Summit underway in Abuja.
Federal government reopens Kamba border after 3 years of closure.
We have resharpened our anti-smuggling strategies. We insist on 100% examination. We will not treat kindly on any cases of concealment.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the Imo illegal refinery explosion, plus the just concluded World Tourism Organization Global Conference.
Well, in the last few days, Kinsley, the nation has been in shock and trauma over the death of more than 100 persons as a result of the explosion at an illegal refining site at Abuja Forest in the Ohazi-Egbema local government area of Imo State.
That's very true, Nadabo. Now, the incident has once again raised issues pertaining to the operations of so-called artisanal refiners and the consequences of their activities, which require measures to contain so as to avert further loss of lives and property as well as damage to the environment.
And Kinsley, you could recall the recent happenings in Rivers State over the operations of the illegal refineries in which the state government clamped down on the operators for causing colossal health challenges in the state.
You're right, Nadab. Of course, we had also discussed on Good Morning Nigeria relating to the soot pollution in rivers. But the latest incident in Imo State appears to be the worst, as it were, considering the number of persons that are reported to have died in the explosion, which has been described as a catastrophe and national disaster.
Truly speaking, that was the president's statement, really. And in his reaction, naturally, President Muhammadu Buhari said responsibility for the loss of lives and property must squarely lie with the sponsors of the illegal refinery, who, and I quote, he said, we must all be caught, who must all be caught, that is, are made to face justice.
The president also urged community leaders, the police, and the Secret Service to never allow the reoccurrence of such heartbreaking incident in any part of the country.
Now, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, who criminalized the activities of the operators of the site, described the incident as horrific.
So the question to ask is, why is it that there is persistence in the operation of this dangerous and illegal business? And what should be done, as it were, to wean them off their illegal activities in terms of operating the refining sites, which of course would include the rupture of crude oil pipelines, and what steps can be taken to avert a reoccurrence of the disaster in Igbo. I'm Kingsley Osadolo. Thank you for joining us this morning.
And I'm Yusuf Nadab Usman, welcoming you to our flagship program on the network service of the NTA, coming to you live from our headquarters here in Abuja.
Honorable, that's not the only topic we shall be focusing on this morning. Earlier, we had indicated that the just concluded summit or conference of the Global Tourism Organization. We'll, of course, be getting details of what transpired at the Tourism Global Conference. And we will have guests who will, of course, do justice to matters arising from the outcome of that conference.
And as always, we shall serve our complimentary segments, which include newspaper review and others. And for now, let's join Ifeoma Ojinta with the morning news. Good morning, Ifeoma.
Good morning, Nadabo and Kingsley. Here is the morning news. Officials of the World Bank Assisted States Fiscal Transparency Accountability Program have been speaking about factors surrounding the $1.5 billion facility shared to states of the Federation. National coordinator of the program, Mr. Stephen Okon, says it was initiated to ensure maximum utilization of funds in the best interest of citizens across the country. This was disclosed at a workshop for members of the Finance Correspondents Association of Nigeria in Abuja.
To carry out budget engagement sessions where citizens contribute to the budget and government accommodates these contributions within the budget.
To have a very good institutional arrangement in place and best practices in terms of public debt management, so that public borrowing and public debt management at the subnational level will be sustainable.
30,000 Nigerians are to undergo training on information and communication technology within the next 3 years. 300 Huawei academies are also being instituted in some Nigerian universities. This is the outcome of a memorandum of understanding signed between the federal government and Huawei Nigeria some time ago. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Ali Pantami, was at the launch of the training program in Abuja.
Also become entrepreneurs on their own. When they get a job, you don't need to train them again. They hit the ground running. That's one of the major things for the federal government of Nigeria through this cooperation.
To fully harness potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area in tourism, member countries need strengthened standards and policies within the region to enhance partnership of exportable products. This took center stage at the 2022 National Tourism and Transportation Summit and Expo in Abuja.
Provide the policy and regulatory framework that would enable the private sector investors to thrive with a view to ensuring good return on investments.
Without the collaboration between the public and private sector, we cannot have a thriving economy.
In compliance with the federal government's directive, Kamba border in Kebbi State, considered one of the most strategic in the country, has been reopened amidst enthusiasm by all key stakeholders. With these developments, the suspended commerce and trade between the neighboring West African countries and Nigeria is now fully back.
Sharpened our anti-smuggling strategies. We insist on 100% examination. We will not treat kindly on any cases of concealment.
Enhancement of Nigeria's security, for which we supported the federal government for her decision. In spite of the pains we have gone through.
African Union Development Agency has commenced drafting of a national program of action that will address challenges that were identified in the course of Nigeria's second African peer review process.
Let us put in our best and together we can achieve a better Nigeria in Africa.
This workshop is to produce the next national program of action. And these are the process to look at what we have existing already and look at what the reports of the review said, be able to harmonize it to one single document, being a framework for the implementation of the outcome or recommendations or observations made on the second country review report.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a billionaire drug baron behind the 3 billion naira tramadol deal involving the embattled suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari-led Intelligence Response Team IRT, Chief Afam Malison Emmanuel Ukatu. He was nabbed on board a flight to Abuja at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on Wednesday, 13th April, following his alleged involvement in importing large consignments of different brands and high dosages of tramadol hydrochloride ranging from 120 milligram, 200 milligram, 225 milligram, and 250 milligram, which are considered illicit. The suspect is believed to own pharmaceutical and plastic manufacturing companies, which he uses as a cover to import illicit drugs into Nigeria, in addition to operating 103 bank accounts, most of which are used to launder money. NDLEA says Ukatu came under watch last year after 5 cartons of tramadol, 225 milligram, were seized from his staff on 4th May 2021 and sold to undercover police officers from the then Kyari-led IRT of the Nigerian Police Ikeja Lagos. The price of a carton of tramadol was negotiated at 17 million naira each, as against the then black market value that ranged between 18 million and 20 million naira a carton in Lagos. Now to politics. The controversy generated by the emergence of the former president of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, and the governor of Bauchi State, Senator Bala Mohammed, as a proposed PDP consensus candidates for the North is not over yet, as PDP stakeholders from 19 northern states and the FCT distance self from the said agreements.
Presidency under the banner and under the PDP banner, and we shall continue to support, promote, and campaign and win the presidency by the candidate produced by a national convention scheduled for 28th May to 29th May 2022. We appeal to all aspirants to be more temperate in their utterances and work to promote harmony and better understanding within the PDP family. The aspirants have informed us that they are discussing among themselves. They are consulting other senior citizens in order to create a better understanding and unity among themselves. Their ultimate objective is to build a national consensus that will produce a national candidate for the party. We urge them to keep up with this commendable effort.
That's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Kingsley and Nadabo after this break.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
When you wake up in the morning, before you start your day, breakfast time with Casa. time for work and for play, for a great start to your day. Breakfast time with Kellogg's.
We start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals.
Is available in 90 naira only, with 10% extra inside.
Don't just wake up your child. Wake up the champion in them. Give them energy to help them win every day with Milo at breakfast. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live from the NTA. And of course, one of our complimentary segments is Business. Kunle Adeyeye takes us through.
Taxation is a fundamental way governments of different countries raise revenues, which makes it possible to finance investments in human capital, infrastructure, and the provision of services for citizens and businesses, with the disclosure that Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio has increased from 6 to 8% and efforts to raise it to 12% on the way. Economic watchers as well as Nigeria's economic managers believe Nigeria's economy will be more diversified.
It's just a matter of enlightenment to let taxpayers know that they're supposed to pay their taxes and at the same time hold the government accountable. When you pay your taxes, the government will generate the revenue to make sure that our economy is better, to make sure that there is security in the economy. The issue is that how many people are paying personal income tax in Nigeria? Very few people. Very few people are paying personal income tax in Nigeria. But we're supposed to develop a system where majority will pay.
And quickly to the details of Monday's tradings on the floor of the exchange. With business news, I'm Kunle Adeyeye.
Thank you very much, Kunle, for the business package. Coming up next is newspaper review.
Now let's welcome Bayo Atebe. Bayo, good morning.
Thank you, Yusuf. Good morning. Good morning, Kinsley.
Right, Bayo,
good morning,
good to see you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Good to see you. Welcome once again. We have some few papers here which we really want to look at, especially their front pages. With me right here is the Al Jazeera Nigeria, that is. So we have some few stories on this front page here. And we'll start right under the masthead. We have Nigeria records worst cholera outbreak in 2021, says World Health Organization. Al Jazeera Nigeria says Nigeria records worst cholera outbreak in 2021, according to the World Health Organization. Details of that on page 4. On page 24, which really is the main story here, it says, maybe it's a quote, I guess, "We are broke," governors cry out. We are broke. And then the writers blame worsening insecurity, poor economic environment, and then highlight impact of rising expenditures and others. You get details of that on page 24. Moving down a little, Buhari congratulates Macron, reiterates support. Details on page 2. And on the left-hand side of the newspaper, we have 3 stories there, one of which is on page 11. It says, World Malaria Day, states others harp on eradication. And on page 4, EFCC arrests man for defrauding Emir in Kwara. And finally, on page 10, we have, it will be betrayal of Nigerians if I don't contest. Yes, that's a quote from Oshibanjo. On the right-hand side of the page, there are 3 stories there too. We have 2023, playing politics with security, dangerous, as page 29. And then on page 12, court declines Amechi's request on alleged unlawful contract suit. And finally, on page 10, we have PDP uploads court sacking of Dogara. That's Al Jazeera Nigeria this morning, and these are the stories trending on its front page. Kingsley?
All right, thanks a lot, Nadabo. I have the leadership newspaper as well as the Nigerian Pilot. Let's take some headlines from the leadership newspaper. Above the nameplate, Niger Court awards 1 billion naira against truck owners for blocking highway. Abakare, that's the kicker. NDLEA arrests drug baron behind 3 billion naira tramadol deal. And further down in the midsection of the paper, after President Muhammadu Buhari's order, security agents go after illegal refiners. That's on page 7. 2023 presidency, citing fairness, Southern Middle Belt leaders make case for Southeast. Go and put your house in order, Afenifere tells Igbo politicians. Northern stakeholders warn against pitting North against South. World's richest man, Elon Musk, buys Twitter for $44 billion. Reps postponed resumption of plenary. Police officer kills 2, injures others at Lagos party. Quickly, at the front page of the Nigerian Pilot, Northern PDP stakeholders disown Ango Abdullahi over consensus candidate. This is the Nigerian Pilot I'm talking about now. If you have it on the screen there, otherwise we take the conversation now from Bayo. But let's return to the Nigerian Pilot. Nigeria loses 10 persons to malaria every 1 hour. That's according to a report. Blitz story, queue behind Jonathan. Group asks APC presidential aspirants to queue behind ex-president Jonathan. Says former president is only aspirant with national acceptance. Insists his candidature will ensure APC's victory in 2023 presidential election. Urges APC NWC to provide level playing field for Jonathan to contest. Now, below the photograph, I'll drop my presidential ambition if Jonathan decides to run. That's according to Bauchi governor. Alabo Graham Douglas, one-time Minister of the Federal Republic, dies at 82. That's page 5. Nnamdi Kanu goes to court, says secret trial unconstitutional. Why aspire to be president if you can't raise 100 million naira? That's attributed to the APC spokesman. And federal government recorded 2.23 trillion naira fiscal deficit in Q4 2021. That's the fourth quarter of last year. Bayo.
Thank you. Let's start with what I want to describe as a human interest story. 4 children who were killed by electrocution where they were occupying a metal container. High power electric cable has snapped, fell on the container, and unfortunately, they were electrocuted. They were rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, due to such shortage of oxygen, only 2 of them were able to survive. One girl was able to walk away and talk. The other boy is now on a danger list and has been rushed to Obafemi Awolowo University. The Benin Electricity Distribution Company has condoled the family of the persons. In fact, two of the children were on holiday with their aunt for the Easter break when this unfortunate incident happened, and they are siblings of the same family. The BEDC says that this happened where the container was placed under a high tension cable. In fact, 11 kilovolt tension cable is snapped. And he says that there's nothing they can do because as BEDC, they have no authority to ask people to vacate their location. The only thing they can do is to disconnect them from the power. But the normal 11 meters that is allowed between the power line is often ignored, and people build under tension cable. And this is the consequences that has happened. Unfortunately, 4 of the kids died. Former Minister of Aviation, who served under the General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida administration, has died. He is Mr. Alabu Graham Douglas. He was aged 82. He's said to have died at a private hospital in Abuja. He hails from Abonema in the Akukutoro local government area of Rivers State. As before serving as Minister for Aviation, he also served one time as Minister of Labour and Productivity, and at another time as Minister of Tourism under President Obasanjo. He worked before that time with the Nigerian Petroleum Refinery Company of Port Harcourt between 1969 and 1977. All Igbo indigenes have been urged by the political and traditional rulers to go ahead with their presidential aspiration for 2023. Speaking at a greater Nigerian conference at Abuja, they encouraged them to do so in any political party of their choice. A communique which was signed by the chairman of the meeting, Okwesi Eze Nwodo, resolved that on zoning, it is a matter of other regions that have benefited from the zone. They observed that we recognize that zoning is legal, just as the federal character principle that is provided for in the Constitution, adding that we have resolved that the ambitions of all presidential aspirants of the Southeast extraction will be supported regardless of the party. The communique says that the conference resolved and concluded that the support of other geopolitical zones for the presidency of the Southeast extraction is very, very germane. They also add that the president from Southeast will usher in an era of unity, peace and progress in Nigeria, grounded in justice, equity and fair play. Presidential aspirants from the Southeast were at the conference. Other leaders, including Chief Edwin Clark, as well as Chief Ayo Adebayo, were also at the conference. In Imo State, outlaw separatist group enforcing sit-at-home yesterday were alleged to have caused a bus to tumble. The proscribed IPOB members were said to be shooting sporadically into the air, and a bus driver who was trying to make a U-turn unfortunately hit a barricade and the bus tumbled. 4 persons sustained serious injuries and had to be taken to hospital. In the same Imo State, the Imo Police Command says they have raided an arms foundry suspected to belong to the Eastern Security Network. This was found at Uba Umuaka in Njaba local government area of Imo State. Improvised explosives as well as potassium nitrate are among the items recovered. And across in Anambra State, the police have declared 12 members of what they describe as outlaw IPOB members wanted over alleged killings, particularly recent killing in Isu Anyocha in Anambra State. The 12 persons had their names and their photographs published. Their age range between age 25 and 55 and are all natives of Isu Anyocha. Well, talking about criminality now, crime and criminality, the Ogun State Police Command says that it has arrested 9 suspects, which are a syndicate operating along the Abekuta-Ayetoro Road. They got a wind from intelligence that the criminals had 2 motorcyclists who were the errand boys. After arresting the errand boys led them, a team of the police, the local hunters, vigilante, and Amotekun into the forest, and they were able to arrest them. And across in the, I think, across in Lagos, the NDLEA says that it has arrested a billionaire drug baron who is alleged to be behind a 3 billion tramadol that was seized of recent. This also involved the former head of the intelligence response team. Femi Babafemi, the spokesperson for the NDLEA, says that they identified the baron as he was about to board an aircraft in Lagos heading for Abuja. They gave his name as Chief Afamu Ukato. He was arrested at Murtala Mohammed Airport, Terminal 2, while trying to travel to Abuja. So those are the outlook of stories across the papers.
All right, Bayo, we are having two topics for discussion this morning. So would like to thank you for being around.
Thank you.
We'll see you again tomorrow. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll get ahead with our principal items for discussion.
Don't just wake up your child. Wake up the champion in them. Give them energy to help them win every day with Milo at breakfast. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within, and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA. Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA Television College Jos for the 2021-2022 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM. The courses available for application include film and television production, broadcast journalism, and television engineering technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects including English language and mathematics. For more information, please contact NTA Television College, Jos, or the marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. Registrar, Announcer. A new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively with Professor Umar Garba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
We have unveiled the 622 as a toll-free line through which consumers can be able to lodge their complaints. And we have introduced a 112 as a national emergency number.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
The Council of Our Fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it run away from it.
Nigerian youth, let's build our nation together.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we're live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. At the just concluded UN World Tourism Organization Global Conference, the organization's Secretary General announced the offer of 100 tourism scholarships to Nigerians.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, received the good news in Madrid, Spain, during his official visit there recently.
Now, the Minister and the Secretary General of the UNWTO also signed the hosting agreement for the first UNWTO Global Conference on Cultural Tourism and Creative Industry, which will be held in Lagos in November this year.
And joining us in the studio to speak more on this, or rather on this subject, is Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Right, good to see you, Honorable Minister. Yes.
You were recently in Spain, and of course you came back home, with great feats, I must say. You had, 100 Nigerians who were able to secure, scholarship from the United Nations WTO. And of course, Nigeria is going to host the global conference too in November. Let's start with the first things first, why Nigerians are really very much interested, the scholarship thing. How come?
Well, in the words of the UN WTO Secretary General, he said the scholarship is being awarded to Nigeria because of the commitment of the federal government in empowering the youth and also in providing quality education in the field of tourism. It's actually called United Nations. It's an online, it's a tourism online academy, which is a partnership between the UNWTO and the University of IE in Madrid, Spain. The course will lead to a certificate award in Introduction to Basic Tourism, industry management course. It's a scholarship for Nigerians who are willing to study the basic, things about tourism. So I believe that it's going to encourage many more Nigerians to actually look into the industry. Very soon we are going to make public the criteria for those who qualify for this scholarship. But we want to do it in conjunction with the various stakeholders, such as the Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria and other groups that are involved, in tourism practice in Nigeria.
What is the validity of the offer for Nigerians to take up the scholarships? In other words, by what time?
I think by October. By October this year, we should have finalized the arrangement. And I believe that, yes, I think it's by October, yes. But like I said, the details will come out very soon.
Okay. Now that we're going to ask a question.
Yeah, I really want to just find out, just like right into what you asked, talking about the duration of the course.
Yeah, because I think those are details that would make available to the public later. Like we say, it's an online academic course. It's an online academy scholarship, which means people can stay anywhere in the world and enroll, and then will be certified at the end of the course.
Okay, that's interesting. But there was also the story about the hosting agreement between your good self and the Secretary General of the UNWTO, that the first global conference on cultural tourism and creative industry. What is that conference all about, and how is it different from the just concluded global conference?
Actually, what we went to do in Spain was not a global conference. What we went to do in Spain was actually to sign the hosting right. What transpired in Madrid on the 19th of this month was the signing of the hosting right between Nigeria and the UNWTO. And why that is, and actually that right is to give Nigeria the opportunity to host the first ever global conference on cultural tourism and creative industry, which actually has been tagged first UNWTO Global Conference on linking tourism with culture and the creative industry, pathway for recovery and inclusive development in tourism.
There are often reasons for, allowing countries or making countries host such conferences generally. There are reasons for that, and I believe Nigeria should have qualified to host that. I don't know what the reasons are, and why are you so keen about hosting this and talking about global conference on tourism and looking at the position of tourism, especially in Nigeria, especially in the third world, where it is not really thriving so much?
Yeah, like I said, this is a global conference, not just on tourism, but on tourism and the creative sector.
Okay.
And you see, the creative sector, which is at the center of this conference, is a job creator. Not only a job creator, it's a job creator especially for the youth and for women. In Nigeria, we've said time and time again that the creative industry is actually our new oil, that all we need to do is tap into it. So you will recall that the creative sector accounts for 3% of the global GDP. And this is about ranging about 2 to 7% of the GDP of countries all over the world. In addition, revenue from the creative industry, according to the UN estimate, is about $2.25 trillion. And the creative industry employs over 30 million people worldwide. So anything that would you do to reposition the creative industry is aimed at creating more jobs and making more people wealthy. Now, you rightly ask, why would Nigeria qualify to host this conference? I think the choice of Nigeria to hold this conference is the clearest indication so far of the growing recognition of the role of Nigeria as a hub for the creative industry, not just in sub-Saharan Africa, but in the entire Africa, because it's actually our music, our film, our gastronomy, and our fashion that is driving the tourism industry in Nigeria. So that is why we take it as a golden opportunity to further re-establish and further reposition the creative industry in Nigeria. And what this global conference is going to do to Nigeria, like I say, is going to showcase, give us a global platform to showcase to the whole world what we can offer in the area of cultural tourism and the area of the creative industry. And it's not just Nigeria that is coming to showcase, because that's why it's called a global conference. At least I think one country from each of the 6 zones, that is Asia, South America, Europe, will also come to showcase their own cultural tourism and creative industry.
What is cultural tourism?
Like I say, cultural tourism, it's those tourism aspects that are specific and cultural to specific regions. Take, for instance, when you look at our masquerades, when you look at our parades, when you look at our festivals, those are cultural tourism because it is the part of our culture that drives tourism, part of our culture that attracts people to come to Nigeria.
When you talk about, the creative industry being the new oil in Nigeria, that sounds really good. And of course, it's heartwarming. And furthermore, you said 3% of the world's GDP is derived from that. And you went down with some figures too, $2.25 trillion as a claim from that, and of course, 30 million employees worldwide. And you break that down to us in relation to Nigeria and see the position of Nigeria in these figures?
Well, I think the position of Nigeria is not quite different. I think the creative sector accounts for about 2.1% of our GDP. And after agriculture, is the largest employer of labor in Nigeria. I think that says it all. So because the creative sector, when you look at it, it's not just cultural tourism. Like I said, it includes film, it includes music, it includes fashion, it includes gastronomy. And it's quite revealing that when we did a survey to look at the impact of the COVID-19 on the industry, about a year ago, we were pleasantly surprised to realize that fashion, for instance, contributes almost 2 trillion in revenue to our economy and employs, quite a lot of people. And the hospitality industry also employs over, 2 million people. So when you look at this industry and its contribution to the economy, at times it's a bit informal, but it's a huge job creator and a huge, revenue earner for our people.
All right, thanks a lot, Honorable Minister. Let's interrogate aspects of the creative industry. You talked about the gastronomic perspective, which is also a part of that. It could also be cultural. Ahead of this conference, have you had a review of your thoughts on the quality of jollof rice in West Africa, and which is the best?
Kingsley, I know you bring that up. You see, incidentally, we have more than jollof rice in Nigeria in terms of gastronomy. My favorite gastronomy meal is probably the Shekiri's specialty, which I think it's called something like cocoa. I think I can't really say the Shekiri name, but I'm told that what it actually means is that just as a fowl would never refuse corn, no husband will ever refuse that kind of meal. So it keeps the husband, faithful to the wife, and it keeps the family, together. So really, when you talk about gastronomy, it's not only jollof rice. I think Nigeria is full of so many other, delicacies that will make, that will drive tourism and attract people to come to Nigeria.
But I don't know, Notable. It's part of probably what we haven't fully explored. It's how to export Nigerian gastronomy to the rest of the world. Honorable Minister, I'm just wondering, because when you look around on the African continent, Nigeria is a top leader in terms of the variety of the foods and meals that we have. But outside, where you also have a large population of Nigerians in diaspora, you're looking for those outlets, on high streets. You're unable to find them. I'm just saying now, this is not part of the conference, but what can be done to further promote that? You have corner locations. I'm sure when you were in Spain, somebody took you to a place where you said you can have Nigerian meals. But you want to have their signs, not something like McDonald's or otherwise. What can we do to further export, our gastronomical varieties to the rest of the world?
Kingsley, I think probably we are not looking well enough, because when I was in Madrid, just last week, the question arose, and all we did was just Googled, and we were surprised at the kind of menu, Nigerian menu that's available in Madrid alone. And the suya spots, are banned everywhere in the UK. So I think that the Nigerian gastronomy is already making its mark on the world, on the global map. All we need to do is encourage more entrepreneurs. But you see, don't forget also that there are different regulations in different countries that control, gastronomy. But in the UK, for instance, I know that there's virtually no Nigerian food you want in the UK you cannot even get. And like I said, this happened in Madrid just last week, and I was shocked at the addresses we were given, whether it's, is it Nkwobi you want or whatever. So if you try it again today and Google anywhere in the world and see for Nigerian food, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Honorable Minister, Kingsley, can we really say the same with fashion?
Whoa. Our fashion has gone very global. Today, I know for a fact that Nigerian fashion designers are everywhere in Africa. They are at major shows. I think in Portugal, sometimes in October this year, 3 Nigerian, fashion designers are also going to, exhibit their wares. Like I said, when you look at the fashion industry, generates about 2 trillion naira in Nigeria annually, and it might not be too formalized, but I think our fashion, the Nigerian fashion industry in the world is doing very well. It's made its own market.
See, Honorable Minister, what you're saying is interesting. Whether it's the food business, even here in Nigeria. We have raised the question on Good Morning Nigeria. I wouldn't know whether my colleague and I were on set together on that occasion. This morning, other than those who are observing Ramadan, you will have a number of akara joints where people would have had their breakfast. Those operations, of course, are not formalized and they are not captured by the NBS in terms of data, productivity of income, and in terms of also of expenditure. What can be done to further formalize? I know that there are various hubs to formalize aspects of cultural tourism, aspects of the creative industry, because the more formalized they are, the more access they will have, not just to markets, but also to finance, funding, equipment, and facilities.
Yes, Kingsley, one of the major, takeaways from this global conference will be exactly what you are talking about, providing a global, platform for our gastronomy, for our fashion, for our music, for our films, so that we can expose them at the highest level, global level possible. And like the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization promised, he says he will start a global, publicity campaign for this conference immediately. And they started, even the day we signed the agreement by, posting it on the website of the UNWTO. So it's one of the things that, one of the major gains of this, global conference will be precisely putting on a global, platform our fashion, our music, our industry. From that, conference, we will expect many, artists to sign, contracts, will, tours, to sign for tours, and our films to be, exhibited in other parts of the world. So, and that is why what is unique about this conference is that it's not going to be your normal run of the mill conference. It's going to be a back-to-back exhibition, performance of film, of music, of fashion, of animation, and the like. So I think you should book a seat at the National Theatre for this.
And that is why the conference is going to hold.
Yeah,
But
yes.
National Theatre is undergoing renovation. What assurance can you give us about, the completion of that? And of course,
the National Theatre, which was built in 1976 to host the 1977 Festac, regrettably had fallen into disrepair for almost for more than 4 decades. It never saw any form of renovation or proper maintenance, and the fabrics, the facilities, the services had depreciated. Fortunately, and we must thank Mr. President, who provided the enabling environment for the central bank, the bankers committee led by central bank, to invest over 100 million US dollars into the renovation and rehabilitation of the National Theatre. So we are very confident that by November, when we will be hosting this conference, we would have renovated and rehabilitated the National Conference to a world-class event center. But what is going on at the National Theatre is not just renovation and the refurbishment of the National Theatre. The entire complex is going to become, a creative entertainment center, because the bankers committee have also decided to add 4 hubs: a hub for fashion, a hub for music, a hub for IT, and a hub for film, so that there will be synergy between these industries. And then when that happens, the complex will now become a complex of National Theatre, which will remain National Theatre, the hub for film, the hub for music, the hub for fashion, and the hub for IT. And I also want to take the opportunity to express our gratitude to the bankers committee, because there was no way, working with our budgetary provision, that we could have done this, in 10 years. I think the provision of about $100 million to invest in the creative industry, it's an achievement for this administration, and we want to thank the bankers committee led by the central bank governor for this, and also, of course, the Lagos State government, which is doing everything possible to also assist in making this dream come true. On the part of Lagos State government, they are working with the experts and also with the Federal Ministry of Environment to ensure that there's proper environmental management in the development that is taking place. In particular, the Lagos State government is investing money to restore the Putimeta Creek, so that the water within that wetland will be cleaned, and then they will now restore the flora and the fauna of the area. In addition, Lagos State government is investing a lot of money in reclamation and also in dredging of the surrounding area. Because if you are familiar with the National Theatre, you will see that it's actually about the lagoon. In addition, the Lagos State government is also investing a lot of money in ensuring that the blue line, the rail, has a terminal at the National Theatre, which of course is going to help in easing of traffic into and from the National Theatre. So what is being created around that National Theatre is an entire, different, environment. It will, when completed, it will consist of not just the National Theatre and those 4 hubs, a welcome center, a modern police station, and the fire station, at the same time as a 500, capacity, car park. So the development going on in the National Theatre complex is amazing.
Okay, you've said National Theatre repeatedly. And yet, out of Spain, when you were in Spain, there was a news report that you had announced a name change of the National Theatre.
No, I think that that controversy is just a storm in a teacup. What we said in Spain was that the development within the National Theatre complex, because when you have a National Theatre standing on its own, refurbished, renovated, and you also have a hub for music, another signature, hub for fashion, another one for information technology, another one for film. You can't call all of them National Theatre again. It becomes a complex. So that complex, the entire complex, will now be known as the Lagos Creative and Entertainment Center, comprised of National Theatre, which will always remain National Theatre, and those other 4 hubs.
But when you come out of this, from National Theatre to Lagos Creative and Entertainment Center, are we not really, demeaning the name from the national outlook to something like sub-regional outlook?
On the contrary, you are saying this area is a creative and entertainment center comprising of a National Theatre and 4 other hubs, which are all part of creative industry. Because what you do in those hubs is you build capacity, you record music, so that our artists will not have to be going to South Africa, going to other places in the world for them to shoot films, or for them to, they might go to shoot films outside, but at least processing the film, editing the film can be done in Nigeria. The same time with the recording of our music. And then we have noticed a skill gap in our fashion industry. That is what is going to happen in that hub. So really, the nomenclature of the Lagos Creative and Entertainment Center does not take away from the national outlook or the fact that National Theatre remains National Theatre. On the contrary, it complements the National Theatre staying there.
Well, the Bankers Committee is given $100 million to get this things done. What's the role of the Lagos State government in this?
Oh, that's what I've just explained. Yeah. Lagos State government is responsible, one, for reclaiming and restoring the Optimeta Creek.
Okay.
And they are responsible also for ensuring that there's environmental management in the entire area. Lagos State government is also investing millions of naira in dredging and reclamation of the area. At the same time, they are working. They are also this transportation interconnectivity, which will make it possible for people to access the National Theatre by rail from any part of Lagos, really on the Blue Rail. In addition, experts and members of staff of Lagos State government in different agencies who are, specialists, are also part of the technical committee of the project. So Lagos State government is indispensable, and they are giving a lot of invaluable, support for this project.
I know that this has been on for a while now, which means that work is already ongoing in terms of the expenditure of the $100 million dollars. But I'm just concerned because you talk now about dredging and reclamation. Anyone who is familiar with the National Theatre complex would know that it was designed and constructed to accommodate those natural water courses.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering, is it a matter of dredging and reclaiming and turning it into dry land, or ensuring that those brackish waters are cleaned up, and perhaps you introduced water rafts?
That's exactly what I said. I said Lagos the state government is working to reclaim the Optimeta Creek, thereby getting the water within that wetland cleaned and restoring the fauna and the flora in the area. Secondly, why are we doing dredging and reclamation? Because we want to build 4 new hubs within the complex. As a matter of fact, they are one of the two biggest hoppers in the world is already on site in Nigeria today to commence that work of dredging and reclamation, because it's a huge job. You see, you cannot build on that those hubs without this dredging and reclamation. So the dredging and reclamation is to give a very sound foundation for the 4 hubs, and at the same time, the Lagos State government is working hand in hand with the Federal Ministry of Environment to ensure that this environmental, management of the activities within the area, and that is why the reclamation and restoration of the Putimeta Creek is so keen. When the water is clean, not only will it restore the flora and fauna, but then you can have water games, you can have water activities within the complex. That's why I say it's not just National Theatre today you're talking about. You're talking about a creative and entertainment center.
That's interesting. I would love to see the restoration, if you like, or the cleanup of the wetlands around the National Theatre complex, and introduce some swans and other things, so that whenever you get around there, you'll see what's going on. I remember attending some shows then at the National Theatre. Shalamar was in Nigeria, and Millie Jackson was around in 1981. This was Ben Bruce, who was promoting them. Were young men in those days. So
and James Brown
around too. Where James Brown was around in the late 60s.
Ipitombi
too. Yes, Ipitombi. Yes, that was. They were also part of Festac, I believe.
Ipitombi was part of Festac. Ipitombi was part of Festac. The National Theatre has actually, hosted, outstanding productions. Not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. In these glory days, and what we are doing now is to restoring to National Theatre to its glory days. Since the MOU was signed in the 14th of February 2021, we've had occasion to visit and inspect the progress of work. I think twice, myself, the governor of Lagos State, the governor of Central Bank, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, we've been there. And we go there almost every 6 weeks to ensure that, work is on. And you simply can't, imagine the enormity of the work going on and what we need to do to get, National Theatre back to what it used to be. But we are very optimistic we'll get there.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. We're looking forward to November. Kingsley, November, that is where we'll be in Lagos, sure. At least
the Honorable Minister said, book a seat. So we'll book the seat through his office.
And we also send the bill. But eventually, when we went to Madrid, we actually had in mind 20th to 30th of November. But during this discussion, it came to light that the preliminary stages of the World Cup, in Qatar, will be about that time. We didn't want any distraction from this global event. That's why we moved it forward to
14th to the 17th.
Oh, that's great.
Yes,
that's really great.
The attention of the whole world will be in Nigeria and will not be, shared between Nigeria and Qatar.
Great. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information and Culture. And of course, we're looking forward to, attending really the new first type, if I may call. So that's a new one in November 2022. Yes. It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. And of course, this is our first topic for the day. We shall take a break now to continue with the second topic any moment from now. Stay with us.
Don't just wake up your child. Wake up the champion in them. Give them energy to help them win every day with Milo at breakfast. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child. Milo. The OCI Foundation International, with the support of the Nigerian Cancer Society, the Office of the Nigerian First Lady, the Future Assured Foundation, the First Ladies Against Cancer, the Sweet Home Humanitarian African Foundation, and other esteemed partners, presents the Savvy Breast mobile application, a game changer in the fight against breast and cervical cancer, the first of its kind anywhere in the world. Life-saving, unique, innovative, educative, interactive, engaging, and informative. Designed by a Nigerian for Nigerians, for everyone. Male, female, old, young, rich, poor. It sends customizable reminders for cervical cancer screening and breast self-examination. Top Nollywood star. It locates breast and cervical cancer service providers at discounts from any village, town, city, or state in Nigeria. It is free. Download it now on all iOS and Android devices. Just type in Savvy Breast. It is free. Share it now using the share button on the app menu to friends, family, and work colleagues across all social media networks, including WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, emails, etc. It is free. A token from the OCI Foundation International to all Nigerians who rise by lifting others.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA Television College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs: Protocol Event Management and Public Relations, date 2nd May to 13th May 2022, 2 weeks. Video Camera Maintenance, date 16th May to 27th May 2022, 2 weeks. Basic Television Production Techniques, date 16th May to 10th June 2022, 4 weeks. Photojournalism and Photography, date 6th June to 1st July 2022, 4 weeks. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills, date 4th July to 29th July 2022, 4 weeks. Sports Coverage and Reporting Skills in the Mass Media, date 4th July to 15th July 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for 2 weeks courses is 150,000 naira per participant, while the fee for 4 weeks courses is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA Television College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
Well, Imo people in particular, and indeed Nigerians, still in a state of shock of the explosion that claimed the lives of over 100 persons at an illegal refining site. Garba Ta'ala has the report to serve as a background for our discussion in the next segment.
Another disturbing scene witnessed in Nigeria is the recent oil explosion in Imo State as a result of activities of operators of illegal refineries. Scores of people are reported dead, while many others injured. The incident no doubt generated hue and cry over the activities of illegal refineries in the country.
My sister just born from fire.
Just like that.
It's a painful sight. I cannot even recognize her here.
I came here, it was something very imaginable.
Reacting to what he described as a catastrophe and a national disaster, President Muhammadu Buhari ordered security agencies to clamp down on illegal refineries and urged community leaders as well as the security agencies to forestall future reoccurrence. Imo State Governor Hope Ozodinma described the incident as horrific.
This is what we have been crying for in the state. It's an economic sabotage to our country, where people steal our crude oil, refine illegally, and even without the guarantee of the quality of such products, sell to the people. And some people suffer engine failure and all sorts of problems with their vehicles as a result of these illegal activities. So people must be law-abiding. People must refrain from taking into any activity that will amount to national economic sabotage, criminality, and all that. So it is a very wrong thing. That does not mean that I'm not pathetic for the loss of lives associated with the incident. It's unfortunate, but then also I want to use that to, through that, advise those who are still in that practice to desist from such act.
Similar cases were recorded in River State in the past, but not of higher magnitude to the latest incident in Imo State. Illegal refineries have been known to be a lucrative business but risky. Hence, operators of these illegal refineries have been declared wanted for air pollution in River State. What workable measures could possibly be put in place to forestall future occurrence of this incident? Could youth stop indulging in such illegal activities? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will be discussing on these issues and more.
All right, thank you very much, Garba Natala, for that backgrounder. My colleague and I were just whispering to each other while the backgrounder was rolling. There was a name to the conversation segment, Haruna Lawal Mohammed, Acting Deputy Commandant General in charge of operations at the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, more popularly known as Civil Defense. He's here in the national headquarters in Abuja. Pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay. We also have with us in the studios Alhaji Ojedokun Latif Abajide, is an officer of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMA, and is in fact the National Treasurer. Pleasure to have you this morning.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay.
And also joining us via Zoom from Owerri is Naji Fenyi, Head of Operations, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Welcome to Good Morning, Nigeria.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right. Mr. Naji Fenyi, let's begin the conversation with you. It's a horrific sight to behold, seeing the charred remains of persons who died as well as the environment that was obviously affected by that disaster. What do we know at this time about the body count and other losses?
Yes, as of good morning. As of this time, and we have a total number of 110 of deaths as a result of this explosion.
There was a freeze to your Zoom connection. Just go ahead and respond to the question, please.
Okay. Presently, we have 110 casualty, and some of the community people whom lost one of their own have come to take some of the corpses for burial. Getting to the site is a very pathetic situation and a very gory sight, because all the affected persons were burnt beyond recognition. So, as of yesterday, the bodies of those that had not been claimed littered around the site has been put together for possible mass burial by the state government this morning, and which after the entire area will be fumigated to avert any possible epidemic.
Tell us something about the geography of the site of the explosion. We know that the vegetation has been denuded now on account of the huge fires that occurred there. But how, the geography of the place, is it easily accessible or is it a remote location?
The site is not easily accessible. It's at the middle of a thick forest in Abeze community. If you don't have any business there, you will not know that such illegal activities goes on there. So it's an isolated area.
We know that, of course. I mean, you are doing the mop-up of the victims, but if that is an isolated area, it's curious that 110 persons could have been in that locality. And we understand the incident occurred in the night. What do you know about the presence of such large numbers of persons at an isolated location and at that
for such illegal activities within and outside the area? Some do come from as far as Rivers, Bayelsa, states around Imo State do come there for such business. So at that moment was at the peak of that illegal business. A lot of people were there for so many business, those waiting for their turn, those to resell their own refined product. So it was like a marketplace, and it was at the peak of that business day before the explosion occurred. That was why the high magnitude of casualty was recorded.
Okay, thank you, Naji Ifan. We'll get back to you later if we are lucky you'll still be there. Let's come back to the studio now and then maybe get some responses from our guests right here. We have, Alhaji Ojidokun Latif Babajide, National Treasurer, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. Alhaji Latif, from what we heard Naji say, such locations, especially where this very incident took place, is a very remote one, and of course deep into the forest, a very thick forest for that matter. And imagine the number of people going there for business and of course working in that place. And there are, these are activities that must be for profit. And of course, when they refine this oil, perhaps your men come out to pick them and then go out with them and then sell them or whatever. I don't know. What would you say about, this kind of location and its accessibility given the oil being produced there?
Thank you. Let me first start by saying a word of appreciation to the President Muhammadu Buhari, because he has done a lot of things in tackling this menace. And if you can see, most of the people that are patronizing these people, they are not our members. They are not IPMA members. That is why when Elder Chinedu Okoronko, the current president of IPMAN, came on board, on one of our visits to the president, the Nigerian president, we were charged to liaise with other security agencies in curbing all these kind of illegal things in the petroleum industry. And we've tried a lot. We are in collaboration with almost all the security agencies in the land, trying to, because this kind of activity does not help IPMAN. It affects our business a lot. People that are patronizing them are those people that are, you can see there are a lot of petrol stations all around that are not registered. What is DPR and other regulatory agency doing on that? Where does these people source their whole products? So these are the questions that people ought to ask.
Okay, Alhaji, thank you very much. You've raised some pertinent issues which we will interrogate later on in the course of the conversation. Let's bring in the Civil Defense Acting Deputy Commandant General. Clearly, this is one failure of security. What happened?
Thank you very much. It's very, very unfortunate what happened in Imo. I was there. I came back from Imo yesterday on the spot assessment of what happened there. Well, the situation, as far as the issue of fighting illegal oil bunkering and vandalism is concerned, it's not that the security agencies are overwhelmed, but the problem is that if you study the situation very well, it shows that the illegal refinery operators are just the group of people that the way they operate and how they operate. You are having an illegal refinery right here today. In the next 30 minutes, they are moving to another place. The terrain are very, very difficult. They are moving to another place that you find it difficult to easily get information about how this even come about. But then with the new situation now and with the situation, because a particular area like the area we were talking about is a very, very difficult terrain, and security agencies are not spirit. We need somebody to give us information about the happenings within a particular area. That is some of the issues we're having. We don't, in a civilized society, people should be able to assist security agencies to see that they nip in the bud some of these issues. So to me, it's not a security failure per se. Rather, we are doing our best. The people that these things happens within their community, they should be able to own up and let us know that these people that are coming in, they are not from our environment. And then some of their children are part of it. They should be able to just point them out so that we will know how to tackle those issues. These are some of the issues that happens around there.
You said you are just from Owerri,
yes.
And of course on a sport assessment. And I would not want to really ask you about what you really saw, because already Fenya has already told us about how the places and the rest of them. But one important aspect you raised is the fact that these operators of illegal, refineries and doing this illegal business hardly stay in one place. They move. At the moment they've been spotted, they move because they don't want to be caught. With that information, how do you think with the communities, because you're now talking about communities who should be given the necessary information, how do you think would the communities be getting across to security agencies? Because these are always people that are new in the environment, and whenever they get old and they're being spotted, they disappear again.
Yes, thank you. If you look at it very well, in the olden days, when things were not bad like this, like this NTA now, if a stranger walks into this place, we will identify him. If you are very conscious of your environment and you know that you have a stranger or a strange face in your environment, you should be able to identify the person and report to security agencies immediately. Or you report to the community leader. If you are not part of that illegal business, you report to the appropriate authority who will now communicate the right people at the same time. So that is the area we are looking at. Information is very key in fighting vandalism and illegal oil bunkering in this country. So it's very, very important. If you get to the sea, in fact, there is no way that the activity of that magnitude will be happening, the number of people involved, though we know quite well that most of the illegal refinery operators operate dead in the night. Most cases, then you report to the appropriate authority. So there is no way we will not know what happens in our environment. Like when I was driving in this morning, somebody is around. He has to ask me to identify myself because he knows already that, yes, somebody is coming in and so person is coming in. It's very, very important. We should not be very economical with information.
Well, I was just wondering, because there's the issue of intelligence, or actionable intelligence. There's some curiosity about this explosion in Imo, because the Imo state government, through one of its commissioners, declared a certain named individual wanted for being the operator of that illegal refinery. So, which means that the name of the individual wasn't hidden. and that the operation had been going on for a while. This morning, we were reading one of the headlines of the papers, that right now security agents, following the president's order, have moved to apprehend illegal refiners. Did the security agencies have to wait for the president to give them that order?
Well, that is the headline of a newspaper. Honestly, the issue of a presidential directive has been there, is not today, maybe it's reinforcing it. And we have been working on that. If you look at it very well, the issue of trying to apprehend illegal refinery operators, we've taken it very serious, and we have been working on it very seriously. The person mentioned as one of the owner of the refinery, in most cases, from my experience, some of the operators of those refineries, they are sitting somewhere. They have the foot soldiers who are communicating with them. With what happened, you discover that he's alive. And even those who are very close to him, who are more or less the masterminders of all this, they'll be somewhere cooling off. And the best thing is, just like what we were saying, is that intelligence to see that how those people are apprehended. And I can assure you, even with the presidential charge, all the security agencies who are working in harmony to ensure that most of those illegal refinery operators are apprehended and taken out of business.
Okay.
I don't know if we can, if Fanny is still there. If Fanny is still there, please, let's have, a little bit of an idea about how bad the situation is, talking about emergency attendance now. It cannot be that the whole village or the whole community has been ravaged by this incident. There must be some survivors, and of course, given the videos we watched, of course, on social media, a lot of people have been going there to see what really happened. How is the emergency situation there? How are you managing the situation? Talking about those who were there and those who survived, and of course, those who might have been affected, and including the environment too.
Yeah, all right. The affected are in different hospitals, not just one hospital. They are being taken in different hospitals, which the main thing we intend doing is to safeguard the environment today by giving a mass burial to those that are dead, those that have not been claimed, lying down at the site. So the main activities today is to give them a mass burial and fumigate the entire site, like I said earlier, to avoid any possible epidemic. Then after this, we need to go around and to ascertain the actual number of those that are still surviving and any possible death that may occur, which we will still give out to the public.
All right. Thank you, Naji. Fine. Just again, give us a sense of if you can imagine the size of the area where this explosion took place and also impacted. Can we use maybe a soccer field, that's to say a football field, maybe the size of 10 football fields, the size of XYZ, so that we have an appreciation of what the impact was?
Well, I cannot actually give the circumference of the area, but it's a vast open field. Like I said earlier, it's an open market. It's a vast open field, and they have series of points where you come in, pick tally, where you make your payment and the rest before getting to the refining site. So, but the explosion was so huge that it cut across all those areas.
Okay, Naji, well, that is one explosion. Imo is an oil-producing state, by the way. Do we know of any other illegal site that is not been discovered or where disaster hasn't struck in and around Imo?
Right now, I cannot say. If not that this explosion occurred, I wouldn't know that such an illegal refinery existing in that location. But I think we after mopping up the area and cleaning up the area, I think the state government and that of the federal have to come together and try, like Mr. President has already directed, to flush off all those illegalities in the area that it exists. I think that will, with this incident, it will give a rightful position for the appropriate authority to do something meaningful to eradicate these illegalities because of the risk associated to it. Like what I saw on ground, they are not mindful of safety measure. All they're after is just to come and do their business and get their money. But the safety measure was not put in place. So I think it's better to checkmate some of this in and to abolish these illegal activities for us not to experience such huge loss again.
Mr. Ifeanyi, I don't know if you can just throw more light on this a little bit. Obaize, the area where this incident really happened. And I don't know, how far is it from the local government headquarters? And when you mentioned really that, of course, there are spots, or can I say checkpoints as to where you should be going one after the other before you reach the real, spot where the refinery is in order to get your product if you've gone there to buy or to do business or whatever it is. Give us a sense of how far it is from the local government's headquarters, and of course, how accessible is it? It cannot be just a footpath or whatever. There should be a road because these commodities cannot be brought out on.
Like if you don't know the place, you don't know it. Even for us to get to the site, we have to look for someone that can help us get access to the area. It's a difficult terrain because these activities is at the middle of the thick forest. Our basic community is at the middle of the forest where this illegal activities is being carried out. So if you don't know the terrain, you don't know. If you don't have any business there, you don't know the area.
Okay, Naji, thank you very much. We'll hopefully return to you in the closing stages of this conversation. Now back to the studios. Alhaji Ojodogun of IPMAN. Well, we are discussing the Imo illegal refineries. On Good Morning Nigeria, we've had back-to-back conversations on these artisanal refiners. And we were told that in rivers, before they were dislodged by the governor, that tankers normally would queue to get products from these illegal refiners. You said most of them are not your members. Is that suggesting that some of them could be your members? What do you know about those who are evacuating products, mostly diesel, from these illegal refineries?
As I've said earlier, those patronizing them are those indulging in illicit business transaction. And they are not IPMA members. Ordinarily, you cannot carry petroleum products without a tanker. And a tanker is not only associated with IPMA members. There are some other members of the public that are using tankers. You can buy tanker. Nobody will query you. What do you want to do with the tankers?
And I will be driving it to NT every morning.
You employ those that will drive it for you. So the mere saying tankers there doesn't mean it's IPMA members. We are collaborating government efforts to curb these illegal activities because it's affecting us. You can see a lot of cars, a lot of vehicles destroyed in this explosion. You can see it.